Hello and welcome to tutorial 221 in this series of tutorials and programs that focus on TradeStation Easy Language. And in this tutorial we're going to be looking at a ruler. I had a request to create a program that would draw a ruler, by which I mean this rectangle here you can see on the chart. And the point of this is that the price needs to move this number of points to achieve a value of £1,000. I'm looking on this chart on the E-mini. In fact, I've made it so that we can actually change the value from, doesn't have to be 1,000. So if we just look at the study, and you can see that I've got it set 1,000 at the moment with one contract, and we can also set the color of the rectangle. So the very simple program, but the one difficulty that we do have to make sure is that we keep this rectangle in the middle of between the high and the low. Of course, the actual size of it stays the same, but it will vary relatively depending on the chart. So for example, if I were to take the chart and to make the bars a little wider, you'll see that the rectangle is jumping around to stay in the middle of the chart, and you'll see also that its size is changing relatively to the bars. We also need to take account of the situation where we might not necessarily have a chart with live data, and we might still change the shape or size of the chart. So we need to take account of that. So let's have a look at the program, and a few things here that may be of interest to you. First one is drawing the rectangle. Now what I've done is I've put that into a method, and we've got some inputs: the start, the end, the high and the low, and then we've got a boolean if we want to extend it. And you may be saying, well, hang on, I don't know the syntax for creating a rectangle, so that's very easy to get by. What we can do is we just go into the toolbox and find rectangle, double click on that. You can put in any changes that you want here. For example, you might say I want a specific color, and change that. Say, yeah, I want this to extend right, change that to true, etc. But when you've made some changes, you can then go into the designer generated code, and you'll see, in fact, I've got two. I did that twice, one before the video. You can then see the syntax for creating the rectangle, and you can then copy that into your tutorial. And then once you've done that, you need to go down here to the tool tray and delete the rectangles that you've created by utilizing the toolbox. And in a moment we'll also be looking at the charting host. Again, you can go to the charting host, double click, and make any changes that you wish there. If you look at the designer generated code, you can then copy the code, or at least this part of the code, the variable for the charting host, and copy them into your program. And then once you've done that, you need to go to the tray and delete what you've taken from the toolbox. So anyway, I initially created this method to draw the rectangle, and you can see that I've set that to have a fill color using color 1, which is our input, which I've got set as orchid by default. And then we add that to the chart. And then if the rectangle is not null, in other words, it already is a rectangle, then we can use this method to change the start high, end low positions. So when do we do that? Well, if the charting host is change size, then we can do some recalculations. We find the middle price from the average of the get app info AI highest display value and the get app info AI lowest display value, and then we can calculate the move using the syntax, and then we can draw that basically half above the middle and half below the middle. So that is the charting host. Incidentally, what I didn't show, if you do this little trick here to create it by using the toolbox, you can also create events. And to create an event, you'd click on this little lightning strike, and we wanted an event for changing the size of the chart. And you see here we've got on size. What you would do is click in that little area there and then double click, and then that would create some code in your program. And you again go to designer generated code and copy and paste what was included there. So I'm just going to delete that again, and need to make sure that I've deleted the event which it had added to my program here. I don't need that because I've already done that. So just going to verify the program. Okay, so that is the charting host for on size. The other thing I mentioned is the timer, and that is because should, for example, we have a situation where there is no data coming in and the program's not calculating, then we're just updating the chart every 5 seconds and just throwing a recalculation exception. And in doing that, we then recalculate the program, because we essentially go through the program again, and runs again. Whereas if we have bars actually ticking, happening, making changes to the chart because there's data coming in, then we can use this here. We're just saying on last bar on chart, again calculate the middle price, the move, and then just draw the rectangle using current bar plus max bars back, current bars plus max bars back plus 1, and then the middle price minus move, middle price, or rather middle price minus move divided by 2, middle price plus move divided by 2. And that is being fed into our draw rectangle method, which is what I showed you at the beginning. Okay, so that's a very simple introduction to this. I may do some slightly more detailed tutorials or programs on this subject, but hopefully you might find this useful. If you're not part of the Markplex email list, then please join. And also you might consider Gold Pass membership. And of course, the YouTube channel, you can also subscribe to that. So thank you very much.